So going through all of your video, not all of them, not all 500, but I went through numerous of them, and I have to say, very challenging to try and narrow down what I wanted to ask you about, because you had so much amazing information for people. What I did want to ask you about was about mindset. You talk quite a bit about mindset. We have women in the group that are trying to lose weight, stick to health programs, and something that they run up against, of course, is following through on what their goals are.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how somebody could do that?
Great. Okay. So first of all, holistically, I love your approach is very holistic. Same with my approach. Okay. So I'm very much about mind, body, soul as one holistic being, and you can't address one part without addressing the other part. So the way I view the body is that the body is a container that is carrying around the gorgeous soul that you are and all the thoughts and feelings that you're having.
Yes.
And so your body's job is to carry all of that, and it responds to all of that. So to me, mindset is everything.
Yes.
Because you can have the best action plan and the best experts and the best nutritional stuff and all that kind of stuff, and even with that information, you don't always follow it. Yeah. So like, what's up with that? And it's the same, it doesn't matter what goal you're trying to achieve. I always say to people, do not tell me you don't know what to do. That is not the reason that this is not happening. You are smart, you are intelligent, and you are living in the age of all information at your fingertips. So it's never about that. It's always about, how do I activate that? And it comes down to, as you know, so many things: support, community, and follow through on the information. So I thought I would share with you, I was looking through everything I could share with you in a short space of time, and I thought I would share with you two things actually about mindset with follow through. And I know you know one of them, but because we talked about it earlier, but there's another one that I thought I'd share too. So the first thing that I've talked about with my community in the past about follow through, and I specifically used an example about wanting to lose weight and be at your optimal healthy self, is this sneaky little thing that happens in our mind, and it's that you say you want a particular outcome. So for example, I really want to lose weight, and I really want to be at this level of energy in my body, and I really want to, a lot of women say, I want to be this dress size, right? We get very focused on the look. And you do want that, but the challenge is you don't want the action that's required to take you to that outcome. So you're like, I really want it. I can't understand why it's not happening. I really want it. I can't understand why I don't follow through. I really want it. I can't understand why I just can't do it. Right? Yeah. People are always saying with their goals, why can't I just do what I know is good for me?
Yeah.
When I really want the outcome. And the answer is you want what you want, but you don't want the path that takes you there. And so the path comes first and the result comes second. So as long as you don't want the path that takes you there, you're never going to get there.
Right.
Now,
so never enough, is it? I always say that to people. Giving people a food plan is always super easy. It's like, here's what you have to eat. But that's not the problem. In most cases, it's what you're talking about. It's actually doing the work that's going to take you there, and living it like everything's, 30 days or, everybody wants quick. And it's just that you got to get rid of that mindset, don't you? Yeah.
Totally got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right. And your listeners know that. I mean, they're smart. Yeah. They know that, right? Yeah. The challenge is that you have to train yourself to want the path that takes you there. Because let's talk about I could talk about lots of examples, different facets of life, but we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about healthy living, healthy eating, energy in your body, exercise and losing weight, right? That's part of what people are interested in. So here's what it goes like as an example. And your listeners will have their own version of this. But I really, really want to lose weight, but I hate dieting, but I hate having to stick to that plan, but I really want but I don't want to exercise, but I hate exercise, but I can't do that because, and so the whole model that's going to get you the outcome has a totally negative association in your mind. And we're primitive creatures, and we are designed to run the other direction from what we do not want, and specifically run the other direction from anything that we associate pain with.
Right.
So we have two primary drivers, right? Seek pleasure, avoid pain. And avoiding pain is always going to be the primary driver. You want the pleasure of being healthier and having more energy and losing weight, for example, but usually you're more motivated to avoid pain. And if you think the meal plan or the exercise or whatever you have to do is painful for you, when I say pain, I mean uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Requires effort, then you avoid it. So it looks really simple on paper, right? When you say it like that, it's like, well, that's just common sense. You want what you want, but you don't realize you don't want to do the work to get there. Well, that makes sense. You want to look at what is the story you run in your own mind about it.
Yeah.
So each of your listeners and each of your members has a story that they run in their mind that is negative about the path to get the outcome. So if your outcome is you want to lose X amount of weight, you want to be X dress size, you want to have this much energy, whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but that's the outcome you want, and there's something between you and that something is your story about what you don't like that you have to do to get you there.
Yes, your limiting belief.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes people will say, it is not a limiting belief, I hate exercise.
Right, yeah.
Right? But I'm gonna give some examples about that, because so first of all, you want to know what that story is. So if I can give some practical tips, because I'm really about, it's nice having a conversation, but I'm probably like you've got to do something and have a practical plan of how you're going to implement that new insight, is that you want to understand specifically what that block is, that story you run that is stopping you taking the action, and you have to fall in love with the action.
Right.
You have to change your story about the action. You have to make it your friend, and you have to make it the point. If you make losing weight the point,
not going to happen.
You have to fall in love with the meal plan. You have to fall in love with being in nature and moving your body. And people say, I can't do that. I can't fall in love with that. You can train your mind to anything.
Right.
So here's the thing. Step one, know what the thing is that's blocking you. You've got some kind of negative story going on about what you have to do to get you there. Then you want to rewrite your story about that path and fall in love with whatever the thing is. Okay. And here is how you do that. Your mind is like a tape recorder. It is like a little machine, and it is waiting for you to train it. It's just like a sponge. And you have been listening to yourself too long. Like, people have been listening to their stories for too long that their mind's just mesmerized by it. Yeah. And if we repetitively and consistently feed a message to ourselves over and over and over and over again, and I mean over and over again, like do not stop, it starts to get stuck in your mind, and it starts to become your new story. And when you go to do the thing that you need to do to get your result, what will play in your mind is now, I love this, I want to do this, I choose to do this, this makes me feel awesome. I don't want that other path, that other path sucks. I don't want to go back. I love this, I want this, I choose this, I'm doing this, I'm awesome. That's the kind of dialogue you have to have with yourself to train yourself into. Right. Like, for example, I did CrossFit. I took up CrossFit recently, and I have never done anything like it. And I've given this example in a video before. You're suffering, you've done 1 million box jumps, and you do push-ups, and you're just in hell. And the only way I get through those things is that I say to myself, I love this. I freaking love this. I choose this. I chose to come here. I'm loving it. I feel amazing. It's so amazing. And I just don't let my mind have even like an inch of room to move.
Okay. I was recently going to join CrossFit myself and had that story right in my head. Oh, it's too hard. I've got arthritis in my hands. Oh, I can't do it. I won't be able to do it. No. So there you go. You've inspired me. I know. I just got to change it.
But the interesting thing is, right, is I want energy. So that's my primary thing. I want energy, and I want bone strength for when I'm an older woman, because I don't want to have brittle bones. So that's the reason I do it. And so that's the outcome I want. Yeah. Now, if I want those things, I have to do certain things to get me there. And if I let myself, I'll be like, oh, CrossFit, this is so hard. Blah, blah, blah. And you become mesmerized by your own BS, basically. And the thing is that most people, if your members are listening and thinking, it's not as simple as just telling yourself over and over again, I would like to challenge them, because the thing is most people don't stick at it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I do mind mastery training, and I always say to people, they say, how long do I have to do this for? I'm like, you are not stopping.
Yeah, right.
This is you brush your teeth every morning, you shower every morning, you put on makeup every morning, you take care of your car, you take care of your children, you are going to do this. This is mental health, right? This is cleanliness of the mind.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for well-being. And
Yeah.
your soul wants it. You know, the spirit in you, the beautiful essence of who you are, does not want to live inside a vessel that is filled with all of the stuff that just drowns you.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning, you've got to put in the effort, but the more you repetitively train your mind to love the action that will take you there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
the
always
easier it
tell
becomes.
people with neurology, how it works is those repetitive, the negative thoughts that you've been telling yourself your whole life. It's like driving down a big highway that when your mind goes down that way. When you're starting to build new neural pathways, which is a new habit or mindset, it's like trying to get down this little tiny hole. But the more you go at it, the bigger that hole's going to get, and it's going to become the new highway.
Exactly right. Exactly. Yeah. It's like a well-worn path. You've got to create. It's like going through a field. You've got, tall grass. You've got to pave that path. You've got to walk through it. You've got to hack through the bushes, and you've got to lay it down and then walk it over and over again. So that would be the first thing, is that we look really, really closely at, what you want, but you don't want the action that takes you there. So what is it that you say to yourself about what you have to do to get there, and then fall in love with it, change your story about it, and do it repetitively and consistently. Yeah. And when I say that, I mean like what I was saying before. I love it. I want to do this. And put I love music. I put music, like I listen to music while I'm doing that. Yeah. And you put yourself in an emotionally intense state, your brain more rapidly imprints messages.
I remember listening to a Tony Robbins talk, and he was talking about changing neural pathways. And he was saying that, he grew up with this mom who forced him to eat everything on his plate. And as an adult, he started to gain weight and realized what he was doing, but it was associated with negativity to leave that plate of food. Mm-hmm. So he said for, an entire month straight, he would eat half of his meal, push away his plate, turn on music, and dance until it became positive.
And he is a genius, because what he does really, really well is he trains state change. So when you're in this hypnotized pattern, and you have to change your state. So when you change your state around a particular thing, so for example, with all my clients and all my programs, when I get people doing this, I get people to make their own audios with their own voice, telling themselves the truth over and over and over and over again, with the messages they want to live by, and then put blaring music that you love behind it, and listen to it every day and don't stop. I'm telling you, like in 30 days, people's mindsets transform.
Wow.
So that's one tip, and that is a never fail. Like, I make everybody do that. The second thing that's really interesting about why don't we follow through is this, and you people probably heard this before, and maybe you know this as well, but you want the result, yes, that's genuine. I want to look that way. I want to be that size. I want to lose this weight. I want to live healthy. But if there is a consequence to that which poses a problem for you, you will avoid it at all costs, whether consciously or unconsciously. What I mean by that is, what do you fear about the outcome? When you are that way, and here's what it looks like. I've heard women say this to me before in coaching. I have been at that weight before, and something very bad happened to me, and I don't want to be that size again because I'm afraid something like that will happen again. Or I don't want to attract the attention of my husband.
Yeah.
Because we're not in a healthy relationship, and if I get to that weight, then he's going to be more attracted. I can't deal with it. I don't want it. Or I don't like attention of other people, female or male. I don't like standing out. I've been taught by my parents, don't stand out. And don't be the center of attention, and be humble. And people's minds get coded at a very deep level in ways that you don't even draw the connection, but in your mind you're like, can't stand out. If I lose this weight, people are going to see me.
Yeah.
Or whatever it might be. And sometimes it's not even about that. It's if I'm really successful with my health and nutrition, and I've got people around me that aren't, will they stop loving me? Will they judge me? Will I no longer have the connection? We don't bond over food anymore. We don't bond over the fact we're both the same weight. We don't bond over whatever it is. And so there's all these things that if I get to that goal, what is the price that I think subconsciously that I'm going to pay for that?
Yeah. Even if what I hear often once we start getting through the layers on people, is the fear of, if I get to that weight, then I'm going to gain the weight back.
Yeah. So I'll just stay here. Right.
Yeah. And so women will self-sabotage themselves as closer they get, because they fear that once they get to that ideal weight, that they won't be able to maintain, and they'll gain it back. And that's worse than losing it.
Yes, I've known the joy of it, and now I've gone back. Not only that, but everybody I know has seen me fall.
Yes. Yeah.
And now I'm shamed, I'm embarrassed, I'm a failure.
Yeah. 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 I hear that one often. Yeah.
Yeah. So that you need to, and it's the same process as before, you need to name the thing that's blocking you. It's either on the path to get you there, or it's at the end result when you're there. What is that block? And you have got to rewrite the story.
Right.
And train yourself, because that's a limiting belief. Because that could happen, there's a possibility, but so could a zillion other things. And you create your own reality from the mindset you choose. And literally, what you believe drives what you think. Your majority of your recurring thought patterns are coming out of what your beliefs are.
Yeah.
So you believe certain things, you think a certain way, they drive particular types of emotional responses, which incline your choices, behavior, and action, which get you a result. So people say, well, if I get to that, I won't be able to X, Y, Z, and you feel helpless, that sense of I'm helpless. If I get there, I don't trust myself. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to hold it together. What if I can't maintain it? Are things that are coming out of someone that doesn't feel in control of themselves. And that's because you don't see that beliefs drive thought, drive feeling, drive choices, behavior, and action results. I am the master of my mind. If I'm the master of my mind, I'm the leader of my life, and I get to choose. And I may make some mistakes, yes, but by and large, I am in control. And so many people don't feel in control.
No, they don't. No, they really don't.
Yeah. Don't trust themselves to manage that mental, emotional system.
And if they fail, that instead of seeing it as, oh, well, what if I gained some weight back, or what if this happened, or what if that happened? Well, then you try it again, then you do it again, then you'll just see yourself continuing to persevere until it happens. That's what I think.
Exactly. And I think the important thing is to understand what drives you, and it's always your beliefs. It's always, because your thoughts, people say it's my thoughts, same thing. Beliefs are just ingrained thought patterns, and it's always what's driving you. So you have a belief that there is a price to pay if you reach your goal. You have a belief that whatever you have to take you there is not what you want. Belief, you can train yourself out of it, but you have to see the dirt first and name it. And it's different for everybody, and I think that's the really important bit, is name it and then re-script it. What would you prefer? How would you prefer to live? And actually, anyone watching or listening, believe me and believe Karen when we say you can retrain it. We do this for a living. It's like people are doing it all over the world, and you are no different. It's not like you're missing anything. So,
and it almost becomes like a little game that I play with myself now that I know about this information. Is I'll catch myself constantly going, oh, that's a limiting belief. Okay, let's change that. And you can start to pick them up faster and drop them faster as you do it more often.
Exactly. And like people say to me sometimes, oh, well, you mustn't have that problem. I'm like, oh, I'm human. I totally have that. I catch myself thinking something. I'm like, what is that? What happens is you don't become perfect in some guru. What happens is you become very, very quick at jumping on it the second it shows up and getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And I heard something great recently, which was, I can't remember who said it, but it was that the mind is like gravity. You have to keep it up. If you don't, I was going to drop right down. So right, so you've really got to build this thing like a muscle. The same as spirituality. You've got to build your spiritual sense like a muscle. You've got to build your intuition like a muscle. You've got to build your mental and emotional state like a muscle. And we're just in a culture that's so obsessed with the outer world and like our outer body and appearance and the outer world that we don't realize that it stems from inside of you. Like the essence of who you are and the energy in your body and your mental and emotional state, which are energy, are the energy that are fueling all of your actions and all of your results in your life and attract them as well into your life. And that's where your power is. Like I always say, hands off everything. Stop fiddling around in your life with the actions and get this stuff sorted out. Because if you sort out your mental and emotional state, you are like unstoppable.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
Quit looking for the next quick fix. That's what I always tell people. If you haven't found it, you're not going to. There isn't one. If you've continually struggled with your weight or your health problems or anything in life, Start looking beyond the next program or start working on the inside. And that can be let that be the next program. Don't let it be the next diet or the next exercise regime. Let it be working on the inside. The rest
150%. I'm so glad you said that, because yes, make yourself your next program. I always say make yourself your own project. It's the same thing, because to be honest, there's amazing stuff out there, and most of it works. But it's not the thing. It's the individual interacting with the thing. And there's nothing wrong if you struggle, because so does everybody with something. We've all got our limiting beliefs. And my perspective is that's your path for evolution. What you struggle with will become the mountain that you conquer, will become your greatest achievement.
Yeah.
And is what builds you as a person. So I always think the struggles are the beautiful part of our life. You just have to remember that you are wired to conquer it.
Right. Yeah. And it'll keep showing up over and over.
Yes, in different costumes. It never goes away until you stop. And it's the same thing as like this inner work, right? People don't want to do it because they don't want to look.
Yeah.
They don't want to look.
No.
And often it's from childhood. Often it starts between the ages of, birth and 7 years old. There's some ingrained stuff happening. And then in young adult years and early adult years, there's experiences we have, and people don't want to look at it.
No, they don't. I always tell them, you're not going to want to do this, but honestly, it's probably something that's in your childhood that you got to look at. And everyone's going,
like, please don't, just give me the meal plan. But the thing is that I would say to people is like, well, do you want a month of intensive looking at this and total freedom for the rest of your life? Or do you want to struggle for the rest of your life? Yeah. I'm always in for like, give me the pain right now. Because my thing is like, I want the short-term pain for long-term pleasure.
Yeah.
And I did a video on this as well, short-term pain for long-term pleasure, because what we're doing is we're constantly taking short-term pleasure. Oh, I'm not going to go and do that exercise at CrossFit, short-term pleasure, but long-term pain. Okay, well, you'll have brittle bones when you're older because I've got, I don't have a strong structure in my body, so I need to really make sure I'm strong. So I want to pay the price. So I'll have long-term pain for my little bit of short-term pleasure.
Yeah, there we go.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, understanding those drivers. So that would be the main thing that I would say, is just really take the time to look at those things about what is going on, because once you figure that stuff out and you decide to re-script it for yourself, that's where you can get real traction with the actionable things.
Yeah.
That you're actually putting in place.
Yeah, and you also talk about getting rid of releasing emotional baggage, not only from the past, but also from the present too, which I think is very important.
Yes. So I'm not going to talk about emotional eating, because I'm not an eating expert. I'm not a nutrition expert. I'm just going to tell you my perspective on emotions. So emotional energy, intense emotional energy is like, it's literally circling in your body. I always say it's like an electricity fuse board in your house, and you've got all the electricity in your house running through it. You are like the circuit board, and your emotions are circling and cycling in your body. And if you don't know how to release emotions properly, and they don't get dealt with, they stay in your body, and that energy has to go. So it doesn't know what to do. Your body has to try to hold the energy. So before I did life coaching, I used to do energy healing, and it's fascinating. And the energy blocks up in your body, and so you get physical problems because you have got emotional energy blocked in your system. Like I've had people say, I've got like throat problems, like serious throat problems, and that's your chakra for communication. And lo and behold, they've got all these limiting beliefs and issues with being self-expressed and communicating. Or they're holding in their stomach. I've done sessions with people where they've got pain in their stomach, and I say, what's in your stomach? And they'll just blurt out, I hate my mother. She treated me terribly. And I was like, is that stuck in your stomach? And they're like, yeah, just bawling with tears. It's like our body holds, and actually if we ask the right questions, we know our own answers.
Yeah, people don't know a lot about that. I did rolfing, if you've ever heard of rolfing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have. Yeah.
I was a rolfer for 15 years, and emotion is very much so stuck in deep tissue. And same thing, I would be working on someone, and I got to see over the 15 years where things would tie in, same chakras and stuff, like people that had ribs that always went out. It was heart pain, heartbreak, things like that. Legs would always hold anger, and it's amazing.
which is, I don't know if you do yoga, but I love yoga.
Yeah.
And so when you go into like camel, you do anything that's like a back bend where you open your chest, people cry like babies. You get very emotional. And it's not because you're like, I'm crying because this is so painful and I wish I wasn't at yoga. You're crying because you've got so much energy, emotional energy in there, and you're opening it up, literally.
Yes.
So what is a helpful tip for your people about, okay, well, I know I've got emotional stuff stuck within. It can be from the past and you've got it tucked under your belt and you're carrying it around inside, or it can be the present. You're really stressed about work, you're really stressed about something in your relationship, you're overwhelmed, you're anxious about the future, you name it. There's like a huge spectrum. Well, we know the body's not designed to hold it. We have to be able to release it because there's a couple of reasons. One, your physical well-being depends upon you being at a balanced state. Yeah. So your body and your mind and emotions are all one thing, basically. So, you know, like immune system and all those things depend on your body being at that state. The other interesting thing that's I find fascinating is we don't make good decisions when we are in intensely negative emotional states. So, you know, the body's the fight or flight response. So you go into stress or fear or anxiety. It actually shuts down the part of your brain that makes you sensible, that like helps you make common sense decisions. So of course you make bad choices, right, when you're under that pressure. And so the more you can release emotions and be in a steady emotional state, the better you are to make awesome choices about what you're going to eat and what you're going to do and whatever your goal action plan is. So the one thing that I give to people that I use all the time, and it's the only thing because it is so awesome, is emotional freedom technique, EFT.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's commonly known as tapping.
Tapping, yeah. I don't know much about it, so.
Okay, so I'll just give you a very short story, and then people can research. It's super easy to learn. There's a gazillion resources online.
Yeah.
But basically, I stumbled across it like at the very start of my personal growth kind of intensive journey, and someone mentioned it to me and I was like, oh, what's this tapping thing? Oh yeah, that's interesting. And like most people just moved on, and it came back into my life synchronistically actually about 3 years ago, and I had some intense physical pain, and it instantly went away, and I was like, whoa. So then I started using it, and I started using it on my clients, and was getting like really fast results with shifting beliefs, shifting negative thoughts, like releasing ingrained emotions that have been carried around for a lifetime. Wow. And people just getting such freedom. And basically what it's the foundation of it is that it's based on a merger of ancient Chinese medicine and modern psychology. And it's based on the fact that your emotions are energy in your body, and all difficult emotions are disruptions in your energy, and you have to reset the energy in your body. And when you tap on meridian points on your body, it resets the energy. So we have these lines of energy running down both sides of our body, and they're meant to flow freely for balance. And that's what we're like when we're calm. But when we get into emotional distress and we carry around negative emotions, we get very disrupted energy. And so it's really interesting, when you tap on meridian points on your body, it sends what I call, it's like sending a memo to your brain to tell it to calm down.
Right.
In relation to whatever issue you're focusing on. Because when we're doing tapping, we're tapping on meridian points while we talk about a specific issue.
Okay.
Okay, so you'd bring up the issue and you're talking about it and you're discussing it, which normally in normal therapy or normal conversation would get you quite wound up into the issue.
Yeah.
But at the very same time, you're tapping on points on your body to send a signal to your brain to calm down in relation to this issue. And a physiological change happens inside your body.
Yes, I remember learning about this in school actually, and trying to do it in all the different little spots that you tap.
Mm-hmm. And it's super simple. It's a super simple little cycle of, anybody I meet and they're saying a problem, I'm like, are you tapping? You need to go and tap. Or if you're talking to me about a problem, you're not allowed to talk to me unless you're tapping at the same time. Because otherwise what we do is we talk the problem and we go over and over and we just wind it up and we get more ingrained in it. Whereas when we're tapping, we're constantly sending a signal to our brain, and our brain sending a signal to our body to calm down in relation to this issue. And we're rewiring ourselves at the same time.
Yeah. So that problem is no longer being associated with anxiety, depression, anger, whatever it is. It's now associated with calmness. Yeah.
And it's not even like you have to convince yourself by talking about it in a certain way. your brain and body just respond. They're built like a machine to respond to certain things, and they respond when you tap on
Wow.
meridian points. And so there's a reset happening. You don't even have to believe in tapping. If you're tapping, a change is happening within you. It's so cool. I love it.
I love it too. I'm going to try it now.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. I use it all the time, and you can use it to like a little project. For example, if your members notice like I'm carrying around guilt or resentment or fear or anxiety, I'm going to use it on that. Okay, so you can do that, but then you can clear that stuff away, and then just day to day you can use it on stuff that comes up. So someone's rude to you and you're feeling a bit angry about it, or you're stressed about some, a child's birthday party that's happening, there's too much to do. You can tap on that and you can just use it. It's just like a tool in your toolkit for everyday life.